What's up, everyone? Welcome on in. Are you ready to chat about life? Woohoo! We get a little emotional in this one. So if you feel like it looks like I've been maybe crying a little bit, it's because I have been crying just a little bit. So we're just gonna get ready together and chat about life. I got stuff to say, stuff to talk about, but I did want to take a second to thank this video's sponsor, which is HelloFresh. Now, usually I do HelloFresh sponsorships within vlogs, but since we're doing Vlogmas on my husband's channel and vlogging every single day, the idea of doing yet another vlog separate here just seemed very redundant. So I am including it in this video. I hope you don't mind. So if you've never heard of HelloFresh, it is a meal delivery service that we have used and loved for so many years. So obviously the holidays can be hectic, but HelloFresh helps keep things really simple with recipes and ingredients that cut out the grocery shopping. They limit all the meal prep so that you can spend more of the festive season with your friends and your family. I really love their easy to follow recipe cards that have everything laid out step by step, and they really make eating well a little bit easier. They've got family friendly, calorie smart, pescatarian, and veggie options every week to choose from. And every recipe is packed with fresh produce that's sourced directly from farmers. And they even have limited edition holiday boxes that deliver everything you need to cook up a family feast. No planning necessary. That is so awesome. And of course, their pre-portioned ingredients means there's a lot less prep for you and less wasted food. And it's not just for meals. Their marketplace features a variety of add-ons for breakfast, desserts, and seasonal snacks like their Pillsbury pumpkin cookie dough. Yum. So we love it. All of the meals we've made from them have been so delicious. So if you want to try it out for yourself, you can go to HelloFresh.com and use code JBraun14 for up to 14 free meals and 3 free gifts. It's an awesome time to join. Okay, I've already taken a bite, you guys. I've cheated. It is so freaking good. That is so delicious. That like Italian flavor, the chicken sausage, and then mix it with the peppers, and then you top it with cheese. It's kind of like a grown-up meatball sub, but way better. And then the salad is super fresh too. So 2 thumbs up from our household. So thank you again, HelloFresh, for sponsoring this portion of the video. Now let us go back in time and do our makeup and chat. All right, it's time to get ready and chat about life, baby. How do I describe how I'm feeling today? Sassy? Do you ever have days where you feel like sassier than others? Today is one of those days. Sometimes a jean jacket makes me feel that way. Can't explain it. That's just the way it is. I don't know. So on my Instagram, which is @It's Jessica Braun, if you want to come follow me over there and keep up with my shenanigans, I posted just basically, what do y'all want advice on? Not that I really know anything about anything, but just to chat. I always joke that I'm your sister here. I might be your big sister, I might be your little sister, depending on how you view yourself / your age, whatever. But regardless, y'all came through with a lot of questions, like just good topics, even just to talk about in life that I feel like for most of these, we all go through at some point. In fact, for most of these, a lot of us are going through them right now, etc. So I will keep these anonymous. I did have a few questions like, hey, if you're gonna do the questions, are they gonna be anonymous? Yes, yes, yes. So let's start with this one. How do you deal with not knowing what career path you want to take? And with this, let me get like some clips from my hair here. So even if you're someone that you've technically already chosen your career path, the one thing I've been realizing lately, and by lately I mean the past like 4 or 5 years, is that just because you've picked a career path doesn't mean that has to be your career path for life. Like, think about it. Times have just changed so much in that, you know, when it was the 1950s, 60s, 70s, and I don't know, I mean, I like history, but I don't know that much. But it was very common for whoever was the breadwinner in the family to have whatever job and keep it for life, right? Like, you maybe move up in the company, but most likely you stuck with the same company for decades. And even, you know, when I was growing up, that's my dad worked for the same company for decades, like to the point where he even moved to the state we're in now for that company, like with that company, and he moved on up. But I feel like nowadays, that's not how it goes for most people. It's just a very different world. We're living in a world where, first of all, not everyone even commutes to work. I mean, even pre-COVID, like a lot of people were already working from home or partially working from home, some kind of hybrid model. Now it's of course even more common because I mean, literally out of necessity. And I think companies are realizing like, oh, wait, we can actually do this and our employees can still be productive from home. So I just feel like, and I promise I'll circle back to the question, I just feel like because we're living in such a different landscape of like jobs and careers and stuff, it's just not the same. I don't feel like you have to at the freaking age of 18, like thinking about myself at 18, I thought I knew everything. I knew exactly nothing. I still feel like at 32, I know nothing. I'm about to turn 33 in a month. I still don't know anything. But you know, the idea that someone at 18 or 19 or 20 or 21, 22 is supposed to be able to pick a career that you're going to want to do forever is ludicrous. If you really think about it, that's crazy. And the other reality is with any career, you're going to get tired of it over time. I mean, even one you love, like there are times I love that right now in my life, YouTube has become my job. I love doing this, but I also realize anything can happen at any moment and it might not be my job. You know what I mean? But also just that there are still times I get tired of doing certain parts of it. It's like any job. I'm sure like celebrities, like actors that are super famous, that if you're like, oh my gosh, that'd be an amazing job, they certainly have parts of their job that they get tired of, that they don't want to do, because not every job, no matter how glamorous, is perfect. And human nature is that you get tired of things once it becomes rote, once you become content in it. You know, all of that to say, I don't know that, you know, with choosing a career path, you know, pick something that right now you're into, and maybe you'll be into it for a while, maybe you'll do that for a while, and then maybe you'll swerve into another career or just another field within that career. Obviously, there's no cut and dry answer for any of these questions we're gonna be talking about today, because that's not how life works, but I just feel like don't feel that whatever career path you are choosing or have chosen has to be the one that you stick with for decades. There is a way to start different careers. I think the biggest downside, of course, is just that, well, I spent all this money, I've got all this student loan debt from college for picking this career that I thought I wanted, and now 10 years later or 5 years later, I don't want to do it. A lot of times, even with the degree you have, you could find another kind of job. There are obviously exceptions to that, like I have a degree in teaching. There are other jobs, but anything in that field is still gonna have to do with education, but maybe I could go into the other side of education where it was like administrative parts. So maybe I'd do a little more schooling, but if that was what I was into and I was tired of being in the classroom, that is an option. By the way, the makeup I'm wearing, I will link below if you're just curious, even though this video is not really about makeup, but I do love makeup. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder foundation. It's such a great, just light to medium, like everyday foundation. I just feel like my skin always looks healthy. It evens it out enough. It just looks good. Like it looks good in person too. So it's pricey, but I have a feeling when I run out of that, I will be repurchasing. And then I use the Lancome Idol Ultra Wear Concealer. I'm not sure exactly how I feel about it. All right. Moving along, how to focus on personal growth and not compare myself to others all the time. Boy, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? I don't think it's possible to like completely stop comparing yourself to others. It's just not, because we live in the internet age and it's pretty near, I can't even say, I was gonna say pretty near impossible. It's pretty near impossible to not see other people that maybe in your mind are doing better than you, or are doing what, maybe they're in the same field as you and they're doing better than you. Maybe just in life, like they have 2 kids and they travel and you're jealous of that because you can't travel, or whatever your station in life is. You will always find people, always. Whether it's people you know in real life, like maybe your Facebook friends, or just on social media, on Instagram or YouTube, whatever. You're always gonna see people that you think are doing better than you. But you always have to keep in mind, and I know you've heard this before, we all have, social media is a highlight reel, period. I mean, why would people post a ton of posts every day about the parts of their day where they're feeling down, or they're tired, or they ate McDonald's? That was a dumb example, but like, I don't know. I'm not slamming McDonald's. Y'all know I love McDonald's. But like, you know what I mean? They're gonna be posting about the green smoothie they drank that morning, or they're gonna be posting about how they went on an 80-mile run that day or whatever. Like, people are not posting all the time the crummy parts of their day or life. So whether you know them in person or whether it's just a social media person you follow, it's always the highlight reel. Like, how often are you yourself posting the crappy parts of your day? Exactly. The other piece of that is the easiest fix, and something that actually really, and I wanna say I did it like 2 years ago at the beginning of the year, it was one of my like goals. I went through my Instagram and unfollowed so many people that made me feel less than. And I didn't have to explain to anyone in the world why I was unfollowing them, why that person made me feel less than. And my reasons varied, like whether they were like the most fit person in the world. And to be quite honest, it made me feel jealous. Or maybe there was someone that after having a baby seemingly lost the weight in like 2 days and it took me like 1,000 years and now I'm pregnant and I never lost the weight from the first time. But you know what I mean? There were so many different reasons. Maybe they would always post about how great of a parent they are and I would feel jealous about that. Like we all have our really petty things that I'm being really vulnerable sharing those things with you, but those were reasons I unfollowed certain people. I also unfollowed certain people that I just didn't agree with things they were posting. So my point is, when you go through and have a spree like that, where you unfollow tons of people that just give you that feeling, you will suddenly be like, oh my gosh, Instagram's fun again. I don't have to pop on there and scroll and feel crappy about the fact that I didn't work out today or boy, I'm really focusing on that. I don't mean to. But feel crappy about the fact that I wasn't productive today, whatever it may be. I think it is a very healthy thing to do, to really detox your feed on all of your different platforms. And maybe one day you can go back to certain people. Like there's certain YouTubers I unfollowed for my own various reasons. And every once in a while, I'll kind of peek back at their channel and then I'm like, nope, I'm not ready for that yet, for whatever reason. So I think that's a healthy thing to do. And at least that will help you stop comparing. You can't stop it completely, but that is a big thing that, you might have gone through and maybe unfollowed a few people. No, I'm telling you, you go through and unfollow a lot of people. Anyone that gives you that little twinge of that feeling, unfollow them for a while and see how you feel. And then come back to me. I want to hear about it. The eyebrow stuff I used was the Sephora Brow Volumizing Fiber Mascara. And then the powder I just used is the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear, like in the red packaging. Really struggling with taking time for myself to do things that make me happy. And then like talking about burnout. I mean, I think we all can relate to that too. I feel guilt, and I wonder if you do too. I feel a certain level of guilt when I take time for myself, whether that is going to Target alone, whether that is taking a bubble bath. And I think that guilt multiplies if you have kids. I think we all feel it no matter what. I don't think it matters if you have kids or not. But I feel like it does multiply if and when you have kids because you feel like, no, any free time I have, I should be spending with my kids. So you feel that parent guilt. I would say mom guilt, but I think dads feel it too. I don't think or any parent. So parent guilt, you're like, I should be spending this time with my kids. Like how selfish of me to be spending this time. I clearly cannot multitask. I'm trying to do makeup. I haven't done anything in minutes. But I think if you give it a name and okay, I really am feeling burnt out from whether it's work or from just your kids or just life in general, you're feeling burnt out, give it a name. And just say, okay, what I'm feeling is guilt. I'm feeling like I'm being selfish, but I know that what I'm about to do is important for me and my mental health and just in general. And just say, okay, I'm choosing to do this. I know that sounds silly. I remember hearing someone, I don't remember who it was, but back when I used to feel a lot of jealousy when it came to who I was dating. And even early on with Tyler, we're just at a very different place now. But it was something I struggled with big time. And every once in a while it will rear its ugly head, but it's pretty rare now. But I would struggle with jealousy. And it was one of those things that I know it was because I had things happen in the past where I just had trust issues, man. I feel like a lot of us do. It's stuff I've been working through. But I remember hearing someone, I think it was some kind of psychologist or something, say, if you give it a name, what you're feeling, you can, in your brain, say, okay, if I decided to call that bit of jealousy I feel, give it a name and call it Samantha. I've been watching the In Just Like That series, so I've got Samantha on the brain. But if I decided to call that Samantha, I could say in my head, the second I start feeling those feelings, I would just say, okay, Samantha, I hear you. You can leave now. I don't need to be thinking about that. Nothing's going on. So I have to say, at first I was like, this is dumb. It freaking helped, man. It helps. So whatever your issue is, whether it's with, feeling guilty about spending time for yourself or jealousy, whatever, give it a name. Tell it can move along its way when it starts to rear its ugly little head, Samantha, and see if it helps. It might help you, it might not, but it was one of those things that it was kind of like you were able to compartmentalize what that was, give it a name, and move it to the side for the moment. I'm telling you, it worked. Another question about how to be more present. I wish I had a perfect answer for this. I think we'll all struggle with this forever and ever, amen. It's just not one of those things It's kind of like the phrase, I wish there were a way of knowing we were in the good old days while we were still in them. You can't. And so, you can try to appreciate things as much as possible, but you're not going to remember every little detail. You're not going to, it's just not possible. It's not possible. One thing I've tried to be conscious of in this era of social media, and we do vlog a lot, of our lives, is if I want to get a little bit of a picture of something my kiddo's doing or video, I'll get a little bit of it and then put the camera down and just enjoy what they're doing. I don't need, if she's putting on a little show, I don't need the full 5 minutes of the show. I can just get 20 seconds of the show on camera for us and then put it down and just enjoy the moment. I think recognizing that you don't have to document every single thing is important. And once you kind of break that cycle, it's really nice. I always think about when we travel and I'd see people filming an entire Disney parade, for example. That's one very specific example I notice every time. I'll see parents, their kids are having the time of their life, but the parents are both filming the entire fireworks show, all 20 minutes, or the entire parade. And I'm thinking to myself, are they ever gonna go back and watch that entire video clip? What's the point? Get a little bit of it, but then enjoy it with your kids or just enjoy it for yourself. That's what I always think about when I think about being present is we have so much distraction already and we already spend so much time on our phone that when we are enjoying something, whether it's with family and friends, whatever, there's nothing wrong with documenting some of it, but remember to put it down and actually enjoy it for yourself. So that's something we've been putting into practice a lot. And that's coming from someone that we do vlog things in our life. So we do need, in theory, to get footage, but we still don't, we know, even for someone that does use video of our lives, we don't need the entirety of an event or an experience or a memory, just a little bit, but then we get to still keep some of that to ourselves. So I think just being aware of how much you're trying to document a moment and just really just keeping some stuff just for up there. You know what I mean? Not everything needs to be on social media. Not everything needs to be documented. Top tips for a clean home. Ooh, baby. I have been watching this channel. I can't think of the exact name of it, but I will link it below. And it's the Minimalist Mom or something like that. And she just seems lovely. She just seems like the loveliest person. She has been saying a lot lately, and this is a very common phrase in the world of organizing and minimalism. Boy, I went really I'm going to the beach or something today. I went really bronzy. And anyway, she says everything has a place and oh no, I'm already butchering. I don't remember what it is. But basically the idea that everything in your home needs to have a place to live. And I used to think yeah, of course, that seems obvious. But the more I thought about it, I'd be well, really though, there's a reason. For example, I have a bag that I bring to and from work and I really don't have a place for it yet. So guess what? That is something that when I get home, it ends up all over the place. It doesn't have a place to live. If I simply bought, a strong command hook or something that I could hang it on every single day, it would have a home. And then it wouldn't be on the kitchen table, kitchen counter, up on my bed, on the chair that just collects everything in my bedroom. We all have one. It would actually have a home. So that would be one less thing that's always just kind of being moved around. And another thing she brought up that's yesterday, maybe even this morning, I watched and I was like, ooh, that's good, was she said, only handle things once. I need to tell my husband Tyler about this because this idea is kind of mind-blowing to me, but it's so simple. But the idea is just that okay, for example, if I have my purse and I walk in the door with it, instead of setting it on the kitchen counter and then later having to move it onto the hook, which is right next to the door that I came in anyway. I do this every day. Just take it and when I get in, hang it up right away. I'm only handling it once versus handling it once to set it there and then handling it again to move it. Taking my shoes off 10 feet from the closet we put them in and then hours later picking them up and actually putting them away. I'm handling it twice for no reason. Handle each thing once. So that simple idea is kind of revolutionary to me. And I feel like it's one of those things that's gonna help us keep a tidier home. I mean, you see our home in our vlogs. It can be tidy a lot and we try to keep it decently tidy, but we're not perfect. I'll show all the time okay, well, this room is a pigsty and it was cleaned 2 hours ago because we have a toddler and also real life. And you know what I mean? But we definitely do tend to keep it tidy a decent amount of time. I think our biggest thing is dishes. We need to get better at putting the dishes right away in the dirty dishwasher, you know what I mean? Or when it's clean, emptying it right away because that is a place in our lives that constantly, because we do like to cook and stuff, that is constantly piled up high. It's just, We can't keep up with it. So that is a goal we have. But I think everything having a home and only handling everything once are like 2 really big tips for a clean home, or at least a tidy home. I love this. What would you tell past Jessie not to worry about and what to focus her energy on? If I could grab myself by the freaking neck when I was like 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, I would say stop worrying about what other people think. Stop worrying about it, because you can't change it. You can't change it. You live your life, try to be a good person, do what you think is best. Everything else is just noise. Everything else is just noise and I'm obviously in a very specific position right now where I put this stuff out on the internet and I'm opening it up to just anyone to say anything. And there are people on the internet that just don't like me for one reason or another. It just is what it is. And it used to really, really get to me, but I'm like, Jessica, just live your life. They're living their lives. Everyone's doing their own thing. If someone wants to make fun of you or hate you or whatever for X, Y, and Z, then let them. It doesn't actually affect your day. It doesn't actually affect your life. It can affect you mentally, yes. But just trying to let that go. It doesn't mean I'm perfect at letting that go, but I do think I have certainly grown a thicker skin. There's no doubt about that. And I think that also just comes with as you grow up a bit more. Like, you just kind of realize, like, those kinds of things, what people think about you, it's small stuff. All of it's small stuff. And it doesn't really truly affect your day and your life and what kind of parent you are, what kind of spouse you are, what kind of friend you are, what kind of person you are. Unless you're going through life like freaking being a terrible person, like, we're all just kind of doing our best. I believe that people are mostly good. I really do believe in that. And I remember learning in like acting class long ago, oh my gosh, even the worst villains think they're doing the right thing. They have a reason to believe that whatever it is they're doing that's making them the villain, that they're doing the right thing and that the other person is wrong. Because that's kind of what you believe in general if you believe that people are inherently good. Now, obviously, there are certainly outliers to that, people that do not fit that at all. But in general, I really do believe people are good, and that even people that don't like you for one reason or another feel justified in that. And, there's not a lot you can do to change it. There's just not. So letting that go, I think that is one of my biggest pieces of advice I would give myself. Oh, young Jessie. There's so much I want to warn you about, and yet I cannot. Some more of the makeup I used, by the way, the NARS Liquid Blush in Orgasm. I didn't put eyeshadow on, I just used this powder. It's the LYS setting powder. Actually, yeah, and I set my under eyes with it. And then I used this Charlotte Tilbury Duo liner. It's their Exaggerize. It's a good liner, but if you're like not wanting it to transfer, this does transfer a bit, so it's not like the greatest liner of all time. And then I'm using a lot of Charlotte Tilbury. I didn't even mean to, but I was just kind of grabbing ones that I know are foolproof, which y'all know I love a lot from this brand, the highlighter here. Maybe ways you cope with disappointment and holiday stress. I remember long ago when I was a kid, I remember having for the very first time in my life, let's say I was like 8, and having this feeling after Christmas, for example, of like, not disappointment, it's not the right word. It was a year I got the Furby doll, remember when those were big? So it was in the 90s. I got it and I could not believe it. Like, that was exactly what I wanted. And, I played with it as you do. And later that day on Christmas and even into the next day or two, I remember this feeling of like disappointment, I guess, but just feeling like, well, Christmas is over and, that was fun and all, but now I'm no happier. This is going to make me sound like a really sad child. I had a great childhood, but I'm no happier or different than I was before I had this Furby. And that was one of the first times I realized in life that like things really don't bring you happiness. I think we all learn that at a certain point in our lives. I'm curious when you kind of remember having that realization. Maybe you haven't realized it yet, but they really don't. So I think as I grew into an adult, I really leaned into, and I think this is just natural, the other parts of the holidays that are fun, right? That are rewarding, which would be like spending time with people you care about. And one of my love languages is gift giving. I love giving gifts to people. I don't know what it is. Like, I love the action of picking things out for them, and I don't know. So like, that is a source of joy for me during the holidays. baking cookies and like that kind of stuff, all those kind of cozy things you might do during this season. And once I started leaning into that, I started realizing as I was becoming an adult, 18, 19, 20, that I was feeling much more fulfilled after the holiday season because that's what I was looking forward to. I wasn't looking forward to certain gifts I might give. Now, especially when I was younger, there was a certain amount of like looking forward to like, okay, I asked for these headphones and I really hope I get them because I was in college and had absolutely no money, But there are people in our lives right now that I feel like, and I wonder if you have anyone in your life, have completely forgotten what the holidays are about. And I don't mean they're worried about like getting gifts and stuff. That's not what I mean. I mean that like everything to them is one giant to-do list. They want to get it done by November freaking 15th. So that way they can say they're done and supposedly enjoy the holidays. I think I can understand that mindset. And I mean, there is nothing wrong with getting stuff done early. I think that's awesome. But my fear is that people like that have totally missed the point of the joy of this season. And obviously we don't all celebrate the same holidays, and there are different times of year where people have a certain season that is more joyful than others. But I think once you start missing the point that it's about spending time with people you love and your family and making memories and relaxing and that kind of stuff, and you're just focused on, I got to get my Christmas cards out and I've got to get my shopping done and I'm gonna get the wrapping done by November 25th, and we've got to do all of these Christmas events and check them off the list and get pictures of each one so I can post it on Facebook and say, oh look, we did this, and oh look, we did this. You are totally missing the point of why you're even doing any of it, right? And at a certain point, I think if I ever got to that point where I was like that stressed about those kinds of things, I would say forget it. I don't have to send out Christmas cards. We don't have to go to Christmas events. We don't have to get gifts for everyone. You don't have to get gifts for anyone. It genuinely makes me sad because they're just totally missing out on how much joy there could be. And especially if you're someone that has kids and you're thinking that way, it makes me sad for the kids because they're watching you go through all of these motions and you're missing the point. And they're gonna grow up to be adults like that too. So I obviously have some personal stuff going on that just makes me really sad in my own life. But it's just a bummer to watch happen. That's all. I almost didn't bring this up, but one thing I've been thinking about a lot this year, and listen, y'all, I'm pregnant, emotional. Okay, so just bear with me. But you never know when it's gonna be your last holiday with someone. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know. This could be my last holiday. Like, we don't know when it's our time. We don't. And so when something special like a holiday season comes around, it's important to remember that the holidays are about spending time with people you love. And so if you are way more focused on all the other stuff, which again is small stuff, then you're missing the point. And you'll look back on the holidays or like that last holiday you had with that person and be like, why didn't I appreciate that time? Why was I so focused on getting X, Y, and Z checked off my list? And why was I, that's all. It's really been on my mind a lot. Yeah, and I know some of you guys have lost loved ones and you would give anything to spend time with them again. So we're gonna move on, but I knew I'd cry at least once. So back to the question. So coping with disappointment and holiday stress. I would say if you are feeling that holiday stress, stop and take stock of your life and what's really important. And if there's something you can cut out from your to-do list, cut it out. Like this year I did Christmas cards and I did them early enough that it wasn't as stressful, but like if I had waited a little bit longer, I would have just cut them because no one's gonna miss getting you'd hope they'd miss getting a Christmas card from you, but it's just a Christmas card. Like it's not, there are things that are so much more important that if there are things you can cut off your list, cut them off. If you were planning on making 5 different holiday cookies and you're stressed about time, you don't have to make 5 different kinds. Make 2 or 3 different kinds. Make 1 kind. And you're still getting to make holiday cookies, but you know what I mean? Like, I think we put a lot of unnecessary requirements on certain seasons and they're not requirements. They're self-imposed. So cut yourself some slack. Remember what it's all about and maybe take some things off your to-do list. I'll forgive you for taking them off your to-do list, okay? Well, I'm glad I didn't put like mascara and liner on my lower lash line because that was not gonna stand a chance. Let us throw something on our lips. I'm just gonna put on the Buxom Claire lip gloss. I just love the Buxom glosses. And this time of year, you can get a lot of deals on these. Like they'll have like little kits and they're kind of plumping. So if you have like lines in your lips, it makes them, after like a minute or 2 of this being on, it makes them look so much less obvious and they smell like coffee cake. Whew, all right, we're done. I gotta stop talking because A, my makeup is done, but B, I know once I'm on an emotional train, it's hard to get off. So I hope you enjoyed this. I like sharing. I don't have a lot of wisdom, I know, but I like sharing what little I know and just kind of chatting with you guys about it, because I think life itself is something that isn't talked about a lot. And like with what I do on my channel, I don't talk about it a ton. I talk about makeup, I do like grocery hauls and stuff. So it's not something that just like comes up naturally in a video. But I think it's important I am someone that's very pensive. I think, and it probably to a fault, but I definitely think about life a lot. And I'm sure a lot of you guys do too. And I think it's healthy to talk about it and think about it and hear what other people have to say about different facets of the shared experience we all have on Earth. It is a shared experience no matter how you view it. And, you know, we all go through very similar things in life, just maybe at different times. So I hope this was helpful or entertaining or whatever, cathartic. I don't know. It was cathartic for me to talk about all this stuff. If you enjoy this style of video where we're just chatting about stuff, I do coffee chat videos every single month here on my channel where we talk about life. Sometimes we talk about my personal life. Sometimes we don't, you know, it's always a mix, and typically we're getting ready at the same time too. So I will link that playlist if you want to watch some other ones where we cover some other topics. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Thank you again to HelloFresh for sponsoring the beginning portion of this video. I will have the link for HelloFresh down below if you want to give it a try, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.